$4,000 gold. What would that mean for silver? Hey, back in December, a prominent analyst went on CNBC and proclaimed that we could see $4,000 gold in 2023. We're going to revisit his claims and see if the conditions are still in place for this wild $4,000 gold prediction. Also, we're going to talk about some news with Turkey. Yeah, we're going to talk some Turkey. Turkey, the country, that is. And we know what's been going on there with inflation, but some interesting news regarding gold as well. And we're going to talk Texas. Yes, Texas. We haven't talked about this for a while, but there's some keen points we need to talk about in regard to Texas and gold and silver. And finally, we're going to hear from our friend Buddy Rumble, the Louisiana gold guru himself, live here in the basement. He has some very interesting information to share with you about using your gold and silver. What would the environment look like if you had to use your gold and silver for everyday transactions? But first, have you looked at the gold and silver price this morning? Right now, I'm sitting down here in the basement. Susie's right above me in our, I can never keep it straight, living room, family room, whatever room, the room without the fireplace. So that would be the living room. And she keeps hollering down the gold price. Up $20, up $21. The last I heard from Susie was gold is up $25 per ounce. Guys, think about that. What is that? $1,980 on the spot market? We're approaching $2,000 again. Now, we know what it feels like to get the rug pulled, right? It's been pulled. The rug's been pulled so many times, the rug is disintegrating. However, let's take some joy and solace in the fact that today the metals prices are doing very, very well. And look, I want to give you some good news. It doesn't rain forever. The rug does not get pulled forever and ever. We are going to hit a time period, a day, when the price does continue to go up and up and up. Hey, I'm talking with Dan Wilton. He's the CEO of First Mining Gold. As soon as I finish this live stream, he's going to share with me his thoughts on the gold market, on the silver market, right? We've got bright days ahead for us. I know the last couple years it feels like Lucy in the football, right? Lucy pulls the football, right? As Charlie Brown's going to kick it. That's not going to last forever. It doesn't rain forever. We will have good days ahead. Also, later this week, early next week, I'm going to talk to Jorge Ganoza. He's the CEO of Fortuna Silver, a $1 billion market cap company. If you have questions you want me to ask either of these CEOs, send me an email. It's short notice for Dan. I completely understand, but I'll do the best I can, okay? All right, guys, let's dig into this $4,000 gold prediction that we had from Juerg Kiener. Now, this was on CNBC back in December, and what we want to look at is, are the conditions still in place that we could see this explosion in the gold price and the silver price? It says gold prices could surge to $4,000 an ounce in 2023 as recession fears persist, said Juerg Kiener, managing director and chief investment officer at Swiss Asia Capital. Kiener explained that many economies could face a little bit of a recession in the first quarter, which would lead to many central banks slowing their pace of interest rate hikes and make gold instantly more attractive. So is that the case? Are we facing a little bit of a recession? I would say we are. Man, I am burning up down here in the basements. Bear with me. I may start to have sweat pouring off my face. I take this all so darn seriously. Maybe Susie will run down a big cup of ice water for me or something because I'm getting hot. Nonetheless, I'm getting hot when I read this because, yes, we are in a situation where we could definitely see a little bit of a recession here in the second half. I think he was a little early on that call, but definitely that could be the case. He said gold prices could surge to $4,000 per ounce in 2023 as interest rate hikes and recession fears keep markets volatile, said Juerg Kiener. He's the managing director and chief investment officer at Swiss Asia Capital. The price of precious metal could reach between $2,500 and $4,000 sometime next year, Kiener told CNBC's Street Signs Asia. There's a good chance that the gold market sees a major move, he said, adding, it's not going to just be 10 or 20%, but a move that will really make new highs. Now, we've talked about this. I want to hear how you feel about this, but I believe when we reach new highs, when we break through to new highs in gold, right? And silver's going to follow. Platinum's going to follow, right? Our good friend Neil from Neil Hahn's Dynasty, we can't forget about him. These metals are going to follow. But when gold, the granddaddy of them all, breaks out the new all-time highs, 2,200, 2,150 per ounce in U.S. dollars. The move, that's a big fight. That's been 3 times gold has tried to break out into all-time highs just in the last couple of years. When it does eventually break out to new all-time highs, that move from 2,100, my hat keeps moving, from 2,100. See if I can fix that. Hold on. All right. Anyway, that move from 2,150, from 2,200 up to $2,600, $2,800 gold will happen in a flash. Because again, guys, there's nobody up there. There's nobody in those levels who's waiting to sell. There will be many, many more buyers than sellers, and it will be a good day. Kiener explained that many economies could face a little bit of a recession in the first quarter. Well, he was wrong about that, which would lead to many central banks slowing their pace of interest rate hikes. Did we kind of maybe see that last month from our very own Jerome Powell in the Federal Reserve, right? And make gold more attractive. Look, absolutely, that's what's going on right now, right? The economy is slowing. What did the Fed do? Don't pay attention to what the Fed says, right? The Fed lies. The Fed lied about inflation. The Fed, either they lie or they don't know what they're talking about. One of the two, or some combination thereof, okay? We know the Fed paused. We know the economy is slowing right now, okay? We know that's a very, very conducive environment for the price of gold and silver, and that's what's happening right now. So what Juerg said 6 months ago, right, we still have 6 months left in the year, 5.5 months. This could still come true. Do I think we're going to get $4,000 gold by the end of the year? No. I don't, okay? Do I think we could be in that 2,600, 2,800 range for gold? Yes, I do. And why does that seem so crazy to us? I know. Doesn't it feel hard to believe? $2,800 gold, $2,600 gold, $2,500 gold? It seems like impossible. Guys, gold was like $250, $300 back in the year 2000, right? It went up 6 times. We're not talking about gold going up 6 times. That would be $12,000 gold. We're talking about gold going up another 20, 30%, from where it is right now. And people, when if I put out my thumbnail, $4,000 gold, I'll get attacked. Oh, $4,000 gold, that's clickbait, blah, blah, blah. That's a 100% increase. Gold has had, over periods of time, massive percent increase, multiples of 100% increase. So guys, don't believe that gold can't shoot up. I know, right, we want to be cautious, we want to be realistic, but gold can go to $4,000 easily. Gold can go to $6,000. Silver can go to $660. Silver can go, I hear Bix Weir, other people talk about $600 silver. These metals can move, and they can move big. Recently, our friend Juerg Kiener said this back in April. He said, when it comes to silver, expect a massive move in silver. He pointed out how tight the silver markets are. I think he said, like on the London Metals Exchange, there's like 2 days worth of supplies, right? We know that. We know that the vaults at the LBMA and the COMEX are running low, okay? And he said basically, and I found this interesting. He said this back in April. He said, when the market finds interest in silver, let me ask you, is the market finding interest in silver right now? Do you think the market? I do. I heard Vince Lachey, when he was talking with our good friend Peter Grandich, mention this exact same thing, that there seems to be more interest, not just with you and me, right? You're in Ron's basement. We're here together. We love talking about gold and silver. Outside of our little bubble, right? We're in an echo chamber to a certain degree, right? We know we want more people to join us. We want more women to join us because June 14th is International Women's Silver Day. But nonetheless, we are having right now this movement where we're getting more analysts, more people, more coverage on silver. People are waking up to silver. I feel it happening, especially just in the last 6 to 8 weeks, right? Other sources that typically ignore metals, ignore silver, are now starting to talk about silver. We're almost done with Juerg. We got a lot more to talk about, including Buddy Rumble, the Louisiana gold guru, live in just a little bit. It says, since the 2000s, this is interesting, since the 2000s, okay, remember the 2000s, right? I think I was 30. You were probably, a teenager, I imagine. The average return on gold in any currency is somewhere between 8 and 10% a year. You haven't achieved that same return in the bond market, and you've not achieved that in the equity markets either. But gold's a bad investment, okay? It just beat stocks and bonds since the 2000s, but it's a barbarous relic, right? We're boomers. We don't know what we're talking about. But isn't it interesting that the world central banks are accumulating gold? And we're going to touch on that a little bit later as well. A new piece of data regarding what central banks are doing with gold. Kiener also said investors would look to gold with inflation remaining high in many parts of the world. Gold is a very good inflation hedge, a great catch during stagflation, and a great add into a portfolio. Stagflation. I want to repeat that. Do you know what stagflation is? If you remember that term, they used to talk about it a lot back in the 70s, in the early 80s. Stagflation. You know what else happened during the 70s and early 80s? Do you know? Yeah, the price of gold and silver skyrocketed. But here we are again it's like a nasty word, right? You don't hear it. Stagflation, right? I bet at the Fed when Jerome's talking to his buddies, he says the S word, right? Stagflation. Stagnant economy with inflation. Here, I made this to visualize it for you. There's inflation, okay, which we still have, right? Oh, sure, the Fed's winning the war on inflation. BS. There's inflation on that side of the box. There's recession on that side of the box. Who's boxed in? Do not open. Yeah, that's right. Your old friend Jerome Powell. Guys, stagflation is the most fertile environment for the price of gold and the price of silver. Thank you, Debbie. Is it Debbie? I can't read. It's too far away. I got a super chat. Yes, Debbie. I can never pronounce that. Somebody help me at some point. Nugent. Thank you, Debbie. Nonetheless, super chat. Thank you. You're the best. So as we move into the coming months, as we move into the coming quarters, right, and the economy continues to slow, and the Fed is more and more boxed in, what do you think they're going to do? Huh? What do you think the Fed's going to do? Are they going to let the whole thing crash? Are they going to let us, they're all beholden to the system and the paper money and the electronic money? No. They're going to print, and they'll call it something different. They're not going to call it QE8 or QE6 or Operation Twister, whatever. They're going to have some other new fancy name, smoke and mirrors, monetary mirage, but it's going to be devaluing the U.S. dollar. We already know the U.S. dollar is in trouble. Look, guys, we don't think, it could, right? Let me button that button back up. I've cooled off a little bit. We don't think that next week or on August 22nd, what's going to happen on August 22nd? The dollar's just going to go poof and go away, right? We're not that naive, but the dollar is certainly in an environment where it's facing major headwinds from around the world. And this is the most interesting part. Not only is the whole world beginning to reject the dollar and move away from the dollar, but you know what? Your trusted, high quality, those beacons of ethics and morals that you elected, right? I elected in Washington, they've done a pretty darn good job of screwing us up royally from a financial perspective. 32 trillion. Heck, since we've been on, right, America's probably accumulated a couple $1 billion more in debt just in the last 15 minutes. Okay? Think about that. Billions of dollars in debt being stacked up and right, the deficits continue to grow. And this is the kicker of all kickers. The interest expense on all that debt continues to get even bigger and bigger because interest rates are up. That adds even more to the deficit, which adds even more to the debt pile. It is a debt doom loop. There's no other way, absolutely no other way to describe it. Let's jump over to the chats. Hello, Susie's house. Wow, good to see you, Susie's house. Time is not our time. Can we all tap the like button? Hello, Coin Shop Chris, Mr. E. Hyperinflation or stagflation? The price will store your wealth. Yes. Y'all, cash ain't nothing but trash. I'm going to get silver. Right. Remember, guys, remember this. I make this mistake myself all the time. But it's interesting when we think about this, we aren't buying silver or gold with our paper money. We're converting paper into, imagine that. Imagine if you had a stack of this, right? There's my old lucky $2 bill. A stack of that and here, that's real easy. Here's a 1 ounce silver Kruger ant. Aren't they beautiful, right? So you got one hand, you got this. In this hand, you got this. What would you want to convert this to this? I mean, come on, man. It's like a no-brainer. But most people, including me, and to some degree, including you, we grew up in this environment where we perceive that paper is worth money. Pat Holland likes to talk about nominal confusion, right? Are you a victim of nominal confusion? Nominal basically just means number, right? Yes, we are. We're all victims of nominal confusion. And what he means by that is if I have a $100 bill and I hold it up here, right? Imagine here's a $100 bill. You think, wow, 100. I mean, do you remember? I remember when I was a kid, I never saw $100 bills. And when I did, it was like, whoa, that's cool. And as I got older and accumulated some wealth, right? And I'd have $300 bills in my wallet. I felt rich, right? I still do. I could run upstairs right now and grab a couple honeys, a couple $100 bills. I still like the way they look, the way they feel. It's nominal confusion. What I forget about is those two $100 bills that I have in my hand. They buy like a third as much as they did 25 years ago. That silver, this, right? This real metal, real money, real value. It still essentially buys the same amount right now that it would have 2 years ago. That's my first mining gold hat, right? They've sponsored my channel in the past. And I'm going to be talking with Dan Wilton, the CEO, here in just a few minutes. First, I need to give you guys 10 rings of the bell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Thank you for the thumbs up. I haven't begged you to subscribe to the channel. Please, if you haven't subscribed to Ron's Basement. I put out a new piece of content every day. I'm going to be your new friend because I'm going to do it for the rest of my life. No matter what I have to do, if I still have a pulse, you're going to get a video. And I want them to be interesting and entertaining. Most importantly, I want you to feel welcome here amongst an awesome group of people, right, that are the Ron's Basement community. It's not RonTube, it's YouTube. So thank you for being here. And the super chats are always appreciated. They go, what's that?
Up 27.
Oh, did you guys hear that? That's Susie yelling at me from downstairs. She says gold is up $27 per ounce. That would be in the spot market because that's what we follow here in Ron's basement. The Kitco spot price. Wow. What's causing it? Let's talk about that. Interesting situation unfolding. From what I'm reading this morning, the U.S. dollars. Okay, this is crazy. Hey, thank you, Sharon. Thank you for the super chat. That goes a long way in helping my daughters walk to our local grocery store and buy donuts because that's what they really like to do this summer. Thank you, Sharon. Much appreciated. Let's talk about the dollar. That's what if you have different information as to why gold is up and away, let me know in the chat. Okay, I'm going to be looking down here because I'm trying to pay a little more attention to the chats. Think about this about the dollar, a weak dollar, quote unquote. We already know that's the dollar compared to a bunch of other crappy currencies. That's like, unfortunately, comparing a bunch of patients in the hospice ward, okay? Or the best looking horse in the glue factory, or three guys who jump off the Empire State Building and one of them falling the slowest, right? But they're all headed for doom. A weak dollar. Okay, pull up a chart. And that's always measured by the DXY index. Thank you, Keaton, for the super chat. Much appreciated. The weak dollar is always measured by the DXY index. You can go into Yahoo Finance. You can go into Google and just write in DXY index. Pull up a chart. Thank you, Henny, Vermilion, ZAR. I have no idea what currency that is, but I appreciate it nonetheless. Thank you. Wow, you guys are overwhelming me with generosity. Thank you. Let's get back to the dollar. This is key. It's always the dollar, like I said, compared against a bunch of other crappy currencies. Go in, put in the DXY index, excuse me, into Google. Pull up a long-term chart. People say, oh, the dollar's weak. And I thought, well, gosh, the dollar's weak. It's going to bounce back. Guys, the dollar's only really been above this level that we've been at lately, and where the index now is right at 100, only for a handful of years over the last 30 or 40 years. There were times when the dollar index got as low as like 75. Could you imagine what the gold price and silver price are going to look like if we had the DXY index at 75? And even outside of that, again, all those currencies are sinking. It's like a teeter-totter, right? They compare the dollar to the euro. But what they forget to tell you is they built the teeter-totter on top of quicksand. Excuse me. And I think that's key for us to remember. That's why we don't like this stuff, right? We like the real McCoy, the real metals. Oh my gosh, we're going to get to Buddy Rumble here in just a few minutes. I promise you. Yesterday, interesting. The headlines are always, don't you just get a kick out of the headlines when it comes to gold and silver? There was a big headline, gold and silver struggle because of horrific economic news out of China. So I'm like, oh, what's this horrific economic news? Did you hear the horrific economic news? And that will tamp down demand for precious metals. Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. I believe whatever you tell me, Mr. Mainstream Media. What's the horrible news out of China? Their economy only grew at 6.3% during the second quarter. Only 6.3%. Oh, it was supposed to be 6.9%. Think about that. That's China, right? We're not going to go down the BRICS road. I'm not going to lead you down the yellow bricks road. We know what's going on with BRICS. August 22nd is going to be a big day. Thank you, Karen. Wow, you guys are awesome. So many more women getting into the silver and gold world, and I love it. I absolutely love it. June 14th is International Women's Silver Day. I have that prominently here on my desk. We're going to make a big deal out of it because the more the merrier, and we know women are smart and they care and they love safety and security. We welcome everybody. Thank you. So, we know the yellow brick road of the BRICS, right? The gold-backed currency, right? I think I just coined that. It's a new I got all kinds of new phrases today for you guys. the yellow brick road of the BRICS, the gold-backed currency. Think about that. China's economy only grew at 6.3%. Only. What did India's economy grow at, right? That's just the ick in BRICS, the IC, the ick. Oh, I wonder what India's economy grew at. How about India? Households have 25,000 metric tons of gold. Remember? 3 times what we have at Fort Knox. We know Chinese people love gold. They only grew at 6.3%. Only. We know that the Eastern countries are taking over the metals market. Thank you, Kay Kaiser. You guys are overwhelming me with generosity. So when I hear gold's down because China's economy only grew at 6.3%, come on, man, are you kidding me? Really? Really? And a little kicker for you, a little bonus. China's central bank bought 21 tons of gold in June. So their central bank continues to buy gold. Let's talk Turkey. You guys want to talk Turkey? And we're not talking about Thanksgiving. We're talking about the country of Turkey that has been ravaged. Thank you, Kay Kaiser, for the super chat. Turkey's been ravaged by inflation. Okay? The people there are suffering. Many articles written about the fact that the people in Turkey, guess what? Guess who the people in Turkey are that did okay through all this massive inflation they experienced. That's right, the people who held silver and gold. Haven't we learned that lesson over and over and over again? Turkey, right? They had to sell some of their silver and gold as they were dealing with this major issue. The country of Turkey is back buying more gold as well. Their central bank bought gold in June, okay? Texas, we're going to touch on Texas. We love Texas. Texas, to me, is one of the more innovative growing states here in the United States. And it's massive, massive economy, massive land mass. Guys, they're still moving forward with their gold-backed digital currency. They're rebelling against the Federal Reserve, okay? They're saying enough is enough. We want to protect ourselves. We want to protect our citizens with a gold-backed digital currency. I got a couple things I need to read to you about this. Senate Bill 2334 proposes to do the following. Establish a new gold and silver-based digital currency through the Office of the Texas Comptroller of Public Accounts. This is key because it will be regulated, right? People say, oh, it's a digital currency, it's a Bitcoin, it's like FTX. No, guys, it will be regulated. They will back each unit of the issued digital currency with a corresponding fraction of a troy ounce of gold or silver held in trust. This, okay, it's going to be backed 100% by gold and silver, period. And it's going to be regulated, okay? That's key. It will allow for individual accounts to be created at the Texas Bullion Depository that could be used to conduct transactions. This is big news, right? As far as I know, this isn't official yet or been passed, but this is the state of Texas rebelling against the Federal Reserve, saying enough is enough. We don't want your paper money. We don't want your CBDC, right? We know Florida also passing laws against CBDC. Guys, this is what the founders of our country set up for us. This is what is in the United States Constitution. You know, that revered document, that is held in such high regard. That's what's going on. The proposal by Senator Brian Hughes would give people the option to deposit gold or silver into the state's bullion depository and have access to spend from their account, just like a debit or credit card. Proponents of the bill hailed the creation of a state-backed digital currency as a way to hedge against inflation, okay, and as an avenue to further assert the state's rights in the ongoing conversation of digital currency regulation. You go get them, Texas. You go get them, Texas. And it's not cryptocurrency, guys. This is not some guy in the Bahamas with a computer setting up a cryptocurrency. It's regulated. It's 100% gold-backed. I have a new term for you, right? And I know Bitcoin is taking some thunder from gold and silver right now. It has for the last couple of years. And now the big guys, right? The Blackstone, boy, it's BlackRock. Blackstone, BlackRock, what's the difference? Well, there is a big difference because BlackRock is the world's biggest institutional investor. And suddenly, Larry Fink, remember that last name? Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, has become very favorable towards cryptocurrency, toward Bitcoin in particular. I wonder why. Do you have any idea why Larry Fink suddenly changes his tune on Bitcoin? A few years back, he was, calling it whatever, imaginary money, whatever. I just wonder if it has anything to do with the fact that BlackRock now wants to issue a Bitcoin ETF, and BlackRock can make money off it. Suddenly, he's calling it the new gold. 2 years ago, it was imaginary money. Here's what I want to call it, right? Look, I understand you're all entitled to your opinions when it comes to crypto. Wait a minute. Where's Bitcoin? There it is. I'm trying to grab myself some Bitcoins, right? Yeah, good luck, okay? I call it ghost money. I don't know, that popped into my head this morning. Cryptocurrency is ghost money. Yeah, we know it's unicorn fart dust. We know Coin Shop Chris. Thank you, Chris, by the way. Everyone, please thank Coin Shop Chris for his help. He's helping on this live stream. He helps a great deal. He's a great friend of the channel. He likes to say gold and silver are the only forms of real money. Everything else is unicorn fart dust. Now, we got to make a phone call. See? Here. I got the old magic phone. The old gold phone. I need to get a gold case for this phone. That'd be nice, now that I think about it. We're going to call our friend Buddy Rumble because Buddy has some interesting information for you. Now, let me remind you, this is the Louisiana gold guru, the one and only Buddy Rumble, okay? This guy has a crystal ball. He told us about 7 weeks ago that gold was going to hit $1,900 an ounce. Do you know what gold hit? $1,900 an ounce. We need to be nice to Buddy because Buddy, so far, has a great record of predicting the future. Let's give him a ring here. Hold on. Buddy. Let's see. Up, there it is. All right. And here we go. Let me know if you guys can hear this. Buddy Rumble. Uh-oh.
Hey, Ron, I'm here.
Hey, Buddy. Good to see you, my friend. Welcome to Ron's Basement.
Hey, well, thank you. Hey, I got it. Well, I'm going to let the dogs clear out. They had to talk. They heard your voice, Ron.
Hello, dogs. Yeah, take your time, buddy. Take your time, my friend.
You know what the sharpest thing in the world is?
What's that?
A unicorn fart. It can cut through your pocket without leaving a mark.
Yeah. Hold on. Susie's yelling at me, too. Yes.
A face for radio is on.
Oh, a face for radio. Hello. Good to see you, my friend. Awesome.
Chris wanted me to tell you.
Okay. Thank you. Buddy, can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, I'm here, Ron. I hear you.
Okay. I'm going to say hello to a face for radio really quick. I understand that he had some kind words to say about me on his show. So thank you, A Face for Radio, and welcome to Ron's Basement. And Buddy Rumble, welcome to Ron's Basement. Buddy, you had some information you wanted to share with the audience about what could happen if we get in a situation where we need to use gold and silver. If it really does, things really continue to get worse from here. What do you got for us, my friend?
Okay, well, I'm gonna get on that topic, but earlier in the show, you was talking about, or your live stream, you was talking about why is gold moving.
Mm-hmm.
I think I just want to touch on this real quick, but isn't it kind of funny? Yellen comes back on the 9th, and less than a week later, gold and silver starts moving. And she went over there. This is what I was trying to say here a week or so ago. I thought that's what I'm thinking about that issue. I think that's why gold and silver is moving. I think they cut a deal.
You think so? Yeah,
That's what.
Go ahead.
No, that's just my opinion, and I'm an expert on my opinion, the same as you and everybody else. But I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know, but that's just my take on it.
Yeah, I want to comment on that real quickly. Yeah, it's very interesting that Janet Yellen, our esteemed Treasury Secretary, for those of you who want to put a face with a name, and there's her cockroach in there with her, that former Federal Reserve President, rushed over to China a few weeks before the big BRICS meeting. I've heard all types of reports. Officially it was about trade relations or something along those lines, but I think
germanium and gallium, which I think that was code for gold and silver.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I've heard some people say she was over there begging the Chinese to buy U.S. treasuries. And Buddy, you bring up a great point, right? Isn't it interesting?
Turn up his volume.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's just one little subject that I think that people ought to take note of. Because I can remember a news article. I can't find it, but I can remember it coming out that China was wanting the U.S. to pay back some of the debt that we owe in gold, and it faded away real quick. And then she goes over there and talks about germanium and gallium and all that. But that's enough said on that.
All right, go ahead. Let's hear it.
Well, that's okay. But here last week you had a viewer was asking questions about gold and what to do, and we got on the subject is there's a finite amount of gold, there's a finite amount of silver, and if it go what do we do? I've kind of went down some rabbit holes, and it's kind of scary, but and I think this goes back to that if you want to protect your wealth and you want to, get out of the fiat and go to gold and silver. And I've thought about it deeply, and there's several scenarios that could be going on, but and I think we're seeing it right now. All the central banks are buying up gold and buying up silver, the LBMA, the COMEX. I think they're going to try to take it out of our hands. They don't really want to go in and ban it against private citizens owning it, but if they buy it up while it's cheap, then they can manipulate it when they need it to and make it so expensive that you can't afford to buy the gold or you can't afford to buy the platinum, and you're going to be stuck with their CBDCs. But we was talking about what do we do when the things crash. I believe, I went into a gas station and I tried it out, and our friends from India that come here to the United States, they own a lot of gas stations, they own a lot of hotels. I think that you can work a deal out. I was luckily went to a gas station that was owned by one of our what do you call that? East Asian friends that live here, Indians or Hindus. And I love them. They're good people, and I'm not putting them down. But when you go in there and there's a manager, if you can work a deal by buying gas,
yeah,
or you can work a deal at a hotel. It's just doing your research. I think that I believe, and I would love to try this experiment out to travel across America using just gold and silver, and without using any cash or without using any credit cards or anything like that. But like I said, I think they're working on it. They're trying to buy it up, and I don't know. And again, my opinion, And that's something I would want to ask some. You like you said, you're going to be talking to your people today. What is their prediction about maybe the U.S. governments or some of the governments trying to shut down the gold mining? So and if they got all that's been bought up, I mean, what's out there above ground now is in the COMEXs, or it's been bought up by the central banks.
And the wealthy, and the wealthy people, and the
right. And once they've got it bought up, then they allow it to fly. And you hear all these predictions of people saying, well, it's going to go to 4,000 or 5,000, 10,000 on gold. Silver's going to go skyrocket. And I believe it will. I think it's going to. And I still hold my guns that by January 1st, and that could be even before January, you're going to see gold at $2,400 an ounce or $25. And I think you're going to see silver at 50, and I think and possibly as high as 80. And I think that's reaching by January for the silver price. I think platinum is a good buy. It's been holding there between 900 and 1,000, and its all-time high was almost 23. I think a platinum is a good buy.
Yep.
Silver too.
Let me interject something. Somebody said in the comments. Jerry Robbins says, I have vacation rentals and I deal in metal all day long. So there's a guy who has vacation rentals, and if you want to rent one of his vacation properties and you want to pay with silver or gold, it sounds like he's willing to talk. I want to bring up one other thing regarding what you said about the world central banks and gold and confiscation. Bald Guy Money, who's another YouTube channel that I'd recommend everybody check out. I love Bald Guy. He's a good guy and a good friend. Yeah, he's really a smart guy. He brought up this idea a few weeks back that when it comes to confiscation, everybody's afraid that the government's going to do a 1933 Roosevelt style, we're coming to take your silver, we're coming to take your gold. They don't need to do that. Back then, we were on the gold standard. If they wanted to get more money, if they wanted to print more money, they had to have gold to do it. We're no longer on the gold standard. They don't need, obviously, I think it's pretty obvious to all of us, based on what's gone on since 1971 when they took us off the gold standard, that the government doesn't need gold to print more money. They can just print more money at will. But where it gets really fascinating is if you consider this, and I encourage everybody out there to consider this. If the government, any central bank of any government throughout the world that's not on the gold standard, if they want to buy gold, all they have to do is print some money up and go buy it, right? Dilute their currency. If the U.S. government wanted to buy gold right now, they wanted gold, they'll just print a couple trillion. They're not shy about printing trillions of U.S. dollars. They could just dilute our currency further, print a couple $1 trillion and go buy however many tons of gold they want. So and I got one more thing.
Suppress the price of it, whereas they can get it even more cheaper.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly. One last thing I want to say, buddy, before I wrap up, then we'll let you have your final word, words. Or paragraphs, whatever you like, is you talked about a road trip across the country where we try to do everything with silver and gold. Coin Shop Chris and I have made it very clear that when silver hits $85 an ounce, we're going on a cross-country road trip in an RV, which might also be like a Honda Odyssey minivan, because Coin Shop Chris has agreed he would sleep on the roof. Nonetheless, we're gonna go on this RV trip, and maybe we'll talk to Chris. I'd be happy if you joined us, right? And maybe we go across the country, visit all our viewers, have some fun events, but the whole way we document how we go across the country using nothing but silver and gold. I don't know. How's that?
I like that idea. I've been thinking about that. What we'll do is I'll pick you all up in Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
You get you some tire tubes and float down to Mississippi, and I'll pick you up at the USS Kidd Memorial. and then we can run I-10 from Florida to California.
Yeah, and we'll get a trailer we haul behind us that will, because we're going to paint the RV half silver and half gold. We're going to have a trailer behind us that we have coated in a thin coat of platinum, and we'll go by California and pick up Neil while we're at it. From Neil Han Dynasty, the Platinum Guru.
That's right. Either that, or we could get us some gold wing Hondas and ride across. No, but that's all. But I'm up for that. That sounds like a deal where we can video our trip and show people that, these people that says, well, if you buy gold, you can't eat it, or you can't do this. Well, I'm going to show somebody, what I can do with gold and silver.
Yeah, we'll show them. We'll document it. We'll make videos the whole way. Hey, I got to break in. We got some breaking news, buddy. We hit 200 thumbs up. That means our cowbell from our good friend Joe F. I hope that was loud enough. Coin Shop Chris told me yesterday I got to ring the bell louder. Thanks, everybody, for the thumbs up. Thank you for the super chats today. It's been awesome as well. Please subscribe as well, okay? And we're not done yet. We're going to get some final words from Buddy, but I want to mention that for any of you who joined us late, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys all for the super chats. Much appreciated. Trust me, we put it to good use here. Buddy, any final words you want to impart upon the world? Because we got people here from all over the world today.
Yeah, the thing about the gold and what people's talking about, how much gold everybody could own, how much silver everybody can own, and I think you come up with about an ounce of gold and maybe 2 or 3 ounces of silver.
Yeah,
I've seen different calculations, from an ounce and quarter of gold to 8 ounces of silver. Whatever the figure is, once they buy up that gold and they buy up that silver, these central banks and these countries, if you remember back to the pre-30 1933 gold coins, they weren't pure gold. So if they have to go back to a gold-backed currency or actual gold or silver in our coinage, which I don't think they'll do, but they will dilute it down. It'll be because it's such a finite metal as gold, silver, and platinum. They'll dilute it down into lesser purities to increase what everybody can own. I mean, they did. I think
right.
The pre-30s were 90% gold.
Mm-hmm.
And I think our American Eagles right now, they're still 90%, the same as what the Cougarans are. But your pure like 3 9s and 4 9s are the Maple Leafs and the Britannias. I think the Australian stuff is 3 9s or 4 9s.
Mm-hmm.
But what they'll do is they'll dilute what you can get.
Right.
And they'll inflate the price, But like I said, I think Neil would be happy with what I said. I believe platinum is the buy right now, and silver too.
Sounds good, buddy.
I think, again, my opinion, I believe by the first of the year, you're going to see 24, 25. I don't like to go and put that 5,000 or 10,000 because that's really reaching, which is not. It couldn't. I'm not saying it can't happen. I like to be a little conservative in my figures.
Right.
And
right.
Another guy. One last thing, and I want to get off here. There was a guy that said something about Fred Flintstone. He said, well, he heard back in the 90s and the 2000s on all the things they was predicting $5,000 gold.
Mm-hmm.
So back in the 90s and the 2000, gold was at 300 something an ounce, and they was predicting these high spot prices. Well, then, like I said, at 300, but now we're setting it close to 2,000 spot price on gold. So it's easier to go from 2,000 to 5,000 than it would be 300 to 5,000. So
Yeah.
I think we're in striking distance of them higher numbers.
We
Now,
we are within striking distance of all-time highs. I remember in 1999 looking at gold. I didn't buy it, unfortunately, but right before the big Y2K, I used to work in the tech industry, and there's, Y2K, remember, the world was going to end, the world was going to blow up, and I remember thinking, maybe I should buy, 10 ounces of gold, and it was like $300 an ounce. So just imagine, and I'll encourage everybody with us right now viewing, imagine back then, 1999, gold's $300 an ounce, and somebody's predicting, gold's going to go to 1,000, right? It's going to go up 3 times in value. That seems ridiculous, right? Well, it's gone up double that amount to 2,000 now. But when we talk about gold going from 2,000 up to 2,800, it almost, and I'm guilty of it too, it almost seems like this incredible gain that couldn't happen. Hey, that would be like in 1999 return parameters, gold going from 2,000 to 6,000, right? Or 12,000. So it can happen. Buddy, thank you. Everybody says thank you. They love hearing from you. We'll look.
I love everybody there, and I'm doing this to help people. I don't care if I get anything from it other than if there's somebody out there that's trying to, they don't know what they want to do, but they understand what's going on. I can give my experience. My mom can give her experience. Gold has saved me. Silver has protected me. And you can't go wrong with it.
That's right.
Everybody needs to like, share, subscribe, and get the message out there. We got to protect each other. We're a family.
That's right. All right, buddy. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Again, thank you, and thank you to all your viewers.
All right, buddy. We'll see you soon, man. Thanks.
Okay. Bye-bye, Ron.
All right, guys, there you have it. Buddy Rumbo, the Louisiana Gold Guru, a great friend of the channel, always generous with his information, and he does a lot of research. I talked to his mom last week, Belle Star Rumble. You can check out that interview on the channel. She's super intelligent, super accomplished lady. I learned some more things about her that just blew me away. And we know we've got more and more women coming into the precious metals stacking arena. And I really feel like, hey, us guys, we're here, right? But we're welcoming a lot of new women into the stacking field. Sharon, by the way, thank you again for another super chat, a never expected, always appreciated. We've got big things going on in the world of silver and gold. And, like Buddy alluded to, right, guys? There's only like 2.5, 3 ounces of silver per person right now on the planet. If you've got more, you're doing a little better than average. Hey, everybody, thank you as always. Interesting day in the market for the precious metals. It'll continue to be interesting, and I'm going to continue to be here with you in the basement. We'll get through this together, and I think we've got some real bright days ahead for silver and gold. I want you to think about this for a second. Gold is again within striking distance. Last week I said, I'm not going to say we're in striking distance. We were fighting for 1900. Who knows what can happen? We could have a rug pull. We could be back to $1,800 gold. I don't think it's going to happen. Buddy Rumble said he thinks 1,900 was the new floor. We're in striking distance of new all-time highs in gold, okay? If gold breaks through to that level, think about what happens if sentiment, interest, right? The Wall Street Journal, CNBC, maybe even the Today Show starts to talk about gold and silver, right? On a scale of 1 to 100, I'd say sentiment is like a 7, right? So we've got a big runway of improvement ahead for us. We want more people to come join our club. We want more people to join us, not just because the price would go up, but because we want more people to realize the safety and security that come along with owning precious metals, gold, silver, and platinum. Look, Rick Rule says only 0.5%. I heard it again last night. It bears repeating. 0.5% of the world's investable capital is in precious metals and precious metal related investments. The long-term average for that is closer to 2%, maybe even a little bit higher. And it's gone as high as 5%. Hey, look, if we just go back to the average and we get 2% of the world's investable capital into precious metals, we got 4 times as many people and money in our sector. Hey, take care of yourself. Most important, right? You're important. You're important to a lot of people in your life. I'm going to look forward to seeing you next time here in the basement. Thank you, and thank you.